Here are my thoughts on Chris McDougall's Born to Run. It is a nonfiction story slash investigative effort to better understand why the author, Chris McDougall, experiences so much pain while running. That is the genesis of the book. He runs and has these different pains and ills and ailments and doesn't understand why. If shoe technology has been evolving for decades at this point, why is it that so many runners are injured, and why is it that he himself is injured? So that question, that fundamental question, led to this varying amount of investigation where he essentially poses in the book through his own experience, studying other people and looking at the science, says the injuries that we have while running come from the shoes we're wearing. We're wearing these shoes that alter our technique and our posture while we run, that doesn't allow our foot, which is this really complex skeletal, muscular, ligament, based like tools to work to their full capacity. And the raised heel, the padding, the tight toe box in running shoes and dress shoes and casual shoes are being pitched and sold as like comfort and support, but what they're actually doing is preventing our feet from feeling the ground as fully as possible, and therefore changes the way we step and how much force and energy we use, which is then our body's overcompensating and causing all these problems because of it. So that's the kind of gist of it, right? That's like the whole theory at the center of it, is that for hundreds of thousands of years, humans didn't wear shoes, and then all of a sudden we introduce shoes and people have these knee problems, stability problems, back problems, foot pain, ankle pain, etc. And Chris wants to know why. And he talks to podiatrists. He goes to Mexico and finds this group of natives there called the Tarahumaras, who are known as the running people. And they still live in this primitive way where society and Western culture and modernity hasn't reached them. The corn is their staple crop. They wear these rubber shoes that they make themselves to run ultra distances, 50 plus miles in with no pain, no problem. The kids, the grandparents, the men, the women, they're all running, and it blows Chris away. So he goes and tries to understand what's different about them compared to, American runners or whatever, Western runners, and ends up, thinking, oh, it's the shoes. So he starts training and practicing barefoot. It seems to help his problems. Yay, all's fine, right? Boo capitalism. The shoe companies are trying to sell their shoes. They don't really care about if it hurts you or not, or what the long-term effects are, which I think is all compelling, and compelling enough so where I bought a pair of these barefoot running shoes that have a wide toe box and zero drop and are really minimal, and we'll see how it goes. So far so good. I'm pretty excited about it. That's kind of the hypothesis of the book, right? And the question, the theory, and the outcome at the end. But then what ties this 300-page book together, and what I enjoyed so much about it, and what kept me turning the pages, is this story of a guy from, I think from Colorado or California. Maybe he grew up in California and moved to Colorado, then goes down to Mexico and kind of lives by himself, but amongst the Tarahumara and different native Mexican tribes, and just runs down there. And he's a character named Caballo Blanco. He's like a little eccentric. And he wants to put on a race where he pits the best American ultra runners, like Scott Jurek, against the Tarahumaras' best runners and see, who's better, who's the elite runner. And so then the last 2/3 of the book are about that story, and it's so interesting and fun, and just had me feeling so excited about running. So then that tied in with this questioning of, are we born to run, right? Are human beings this running species? It just works together really well. And Chris McDougall is a great writer. I think he is able to write about athletics and sports in a way that tells a story that's more than just the activity that's happening, and he does a really good job of that. My only criticism there is that sometimes he paints with a harsh brush, where he might be taking the story and painting it with his own color instead of what actually happened. And where it feels almost fictional or pseudo-fictional, which is compelling to read, but then so in the back of my mind I'm kind of like, that doesn't sound real. That doesn't sound exactly what happened. And then some of the people that are in it feel more like characters or even caricatures rather than real people with multiple dimensions. And that is, when there's so many characters and people featured in this book, some of them I think kind of get shortchanged and feel a little like there's more to this person. There has to be more to this person. Like Barefoot Ted is this guy in this book who wants to run with no shoes, and Chris basically makes him seem like an annoying piece of shit. And there's some sweet moments, but it's just like Barefoot Ted's just put on blast. And maybe that's what he's really like. I don't know. But there are a couple other people too where it's just one dimension instead of multiple. And I think that's tough, especially for a nonfiction book. I think I would expect a little more, but that would probably detract from the story and the overarching thing that's being told. So is what it is, but I didn't love that about it. Overall though, Born to Run is definitely one of my favorite books I've ever read on running. I highly recommend it. It's fun. Once you get past the first quarter, first third, it just picks up and never stops. Just trucking along. It doesn't feel like homework. It doesn't feel like you're in a science class. It's just really interesting, especially if you like running. So those are my thoughts on Chris McDougall's Born to Run. I'd say it gets the good old thumbs up.